That necklace, what you guys are looking there, has put about $800,000 in my pocket in pure profit in the last couple of years. And what you're holding in your hand is about 30 cents. If you guys read my book, you also know that I almost didn't produce that product. That was the one that I was too scared to ask the mold cost. And you know what the mold cost was? How many of you guys have ever been in injection molding or heard anything about mold costs? The numbers are hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands, right? Yeah. You know how much my mold cost was for this necklace? 150 bucks. But I was so terrified when they said, well, I'll get you a quote on the molds. I was like, I'm done. Find a new product. I didn't even ask. I did not even ask. Months later, after someone at an event asked me how much the mold was, I'm like, I don't know. I better go find out. We advanced the product. So it doesn't matter what the product is, what the category is. Is that a high quality product? Actually, it is. It's what's the type of metal? Rhodium plating. So it's high-end costume jewelry. Same stuff you find at Macy's and JCPenney and all those. It's actually manufactured by the same company that manufactures all of JCPenney's costume jewelry. Okay, so we could have done a sterling silver option, but we found the market wouldn't bear the sterling silver option at that high of a volume. I wanted to sell volume, not just a few. Also in front of you is ape tape, kinesiology tape. Kenny, did you get your extra bag? Yeah. Of all the goodies? Okay, cool. So this is an actual product. Like, it's one thing for me to teach you something. It's another thing to actually tangibly hold it in your hands, right? So, and if you guys are paying attention to it, if you look at it, we actually spelled kinesiology wrong on the packaging. And nobody noticed. Right there at the top, on the tag, right? Okay, so this is an entire case study on how we went about product selection, how we found this product, how we settled on kinesiology tape. And of all of you in the room, the only person who's really going to benefit hugely out of this will be Kenny, because he's in this space. But the rest of you will learn a lot about how we look at product research and how we do this kind of stuff. Some of you guys may have seen this. I put a recording of this in the Academy for people, but you'll probably get me expanding on a bunch more topics as we go through. So why did we choose ape tape? These are the things we're going to cover. How we sourced it, how we built in our competitive advantages, why we branded it the way we did, our rollout strategy, and then we'll do some Q&A if we have time before lunch. Okay? So why did we choose ape tape? Well, I follow my own rules most of the time. And we were not looking for this product specifically. We were actually looking for a product that fit certain requirements that we were after, just like I was talking to you guys about. Our initial requirements were that it needed to be niche specific with a large audience base. We needed to be able to easily reach and dive deep into that audience. By and large, that means Facebook to start, right? Ideally, it needed to be a passionate audience. Okay, we needed to find somebody who they're really into whatever it is they're into so that they are more likely to buy. Passionate buyers are always the best buyers. Is lightweight and small, easy to ship. Not complicated, not prone to breakage. Can it be private labeled and made our own so that we are competing with only our own brand, not anybody else? The market already wants and uses the product. Has multiple competitors doing over 7 figures. So everybody else runs away from competition. I run towards it. We are looking for for brands that are already making lots of money because that proves the market. And it has to have retail potential. That was for this particular product because we had a whole bunch of crazy stuff we were doing with this. You may not care if yours has retail potential. That's totally fine. So how do we find Kinesio tape? We did some independent research. The same exact process that I told you. We just started looking around. Okay? Looked at Amazon. Naturally, myself, and then this when I say we, I was talking about myself, Ryan Koisan, and Daniel Audenson. They were my partners on the Ecom Masters promotion we did. Ryan, we had a bunch of Amazon products and other things that we were testing and doing together, and we decided we wanted to launch a brand together. And that's how this came about. We gravitated towards sports and outdoors. Ryan's a big rock climber. You know, I love sports and outdoors too. I'm always into different things like that, hiking, backpacking, hunting, shooting, all that kind of stuff. So we gravitated there. We started looking all over the place, but we kept kind of going back there because I can only look at so many kitchen products or home accessory products before I go, like, whatever. So we gravitated over there. Wasn't intentional, it just happened. Now, how we found it was we were making fun of the CrossFit Games. We were in Reno, and CrossFit games were happening, and we were at a sports bar, and they were on TV, and we were CrossFit's a cult, right? Which is totally cool, but it's like they're drinking their Kill Cliffs, and they're all taped up, and then they're sitting in the bleachers not doing anything. We were just joking around, and then Daniel mentioned that, he's like, hey, isn't that tape we were looking at? Look at it, go, oh yeah, it is. Huh, this tape is on TV. CrossFit's a crazy passionate niche, bunch of crazies running around, right? Loving it, like, I do CrossFit, let me tell you about it. And you know these people spend money, and they're like, cool, let's do some research. So it was an idea worth researching. It was unintentional, but if we hadn't started looking, we wouldn't have ever found it. So we did the merchant words, keyword search, Amazon category search. Again, the same thing I just taught you guys how to do. And then we also looked at the Inc. magazine fastest growing companies when we did some Google searches and found some data that was interesting. So on Amazon, this was at the time I took the screenshot, there was basically these were the four main competitors, okay? KT Tape is tennis athletes tape, I can't remember her name. Then Rock Tape was the big brand leader. Kinesio Tape Gold is what you'd see in like Walgreens or CVS pharmacies and stuff like that. And then Masters of Muscle was an FBA product. It's a private label guide. So we were looking, we found there was interesting, there was products, the price points were good, it was interesting, okay? Merchant words. We checked KT Tape, we checked Rock Tape, we checked the generic, and there's tons of search results, okay? Interestingly enough, Rock Tape is the leader in the kinesiology tape market, but KT Tape has, triple the searches? Quadruple the searches almost? So all this stuff started showing true, like, oh man, we should keep digging, this looks good. So then the CrossFit games, this is how we saw this. All these athletes are wearing kinesiology tape. A lot of it's Rock Tape, but other brands. Then we saw, the runners wearing it, and swimmers are wearing it, and golfers are wearing it, and all these different people are wearing it. John has worn it, or he's worn it when he was doing his backyard landscaping, right? So they're all wearing this tape, and it's like, okay, interesting. And then we checked Amazon, and we realized that, wow, 114 in sports and outdoors, 137 in sports and outdoors. These suckers are moving. If you're in the top couple hundred on Amazon, your volume is insane, right? So we're like, man, maybe we should look at this more, really as an actual opportunity. Then as we were Googling all this stuff, we came across the Inc. list. And we saw that Rock Tape had hit the Inc. number 448, but what was important to us was their 3-year growth. 1,000%. 2013 revenue, 5.3 million. 2010 revenue, 454,000. Is that a pretty good growth curve? What does that indicate? Good market, right? Okay, so there was Rock Tape, and then we saw KT Tape. Excuse me, guys. Same kind of thing, right? 1,200% growth. 9.1 million. And also, we look at their founding date, 2008 and 2009, starting about the same time. So these companies selling the same product, started about the same time, both experiencing amazing growth, selling the same, and there's no variation in the product other than their packaging and the label, right? Pretty interesting. We got excited about it. So how we sourced it? Alibaba.com. I didn't have any way to find it at that time. Now we have guys that can do sourcing for us through Black Label and stuff like that, but at the time I didn't have it. We searched kinesiology tape, the same way everybody else finds product. The top 3 companies, there's a ton of them, so we eliminated it down by gold member. How long had they been a gold member? Just to eliminate some of the results so we could just try to find somebody quicker. We set up Skype calls with each of them. We asked about the company. We asked about their specialty, not about kinesiology tape. We asked about their specialty, their quality control process. We talked about their manufacturing capacity, product customization. This is when we started talking about the tape. Packaging options, what were the different variations they did? But we led in with what does the company do? Because we found several manufacturers that could make kinesiology tape, but their specialty was industrial tape. And we'll go, okay, well, kinesiology tape's kind of in the medical tape category. There's some health things, there's some certifications we wanted to make sure they had, and an industrial tape probably didn't have that. So, but we wouldn't have known that had we not asked. So we ordered samples from 2 of the 3. The one we didn't order was the industrial tape guys. Okay, and we compared them against competitors' products. What did? We went to the store, we went to Amazon, we bought our competitors' products. Okay, so we ordered our competitors' products, and we just compared them. What worked, what didn't, which samples were better? Did we like them? So this is it. All we did was we checked by gold. Okay, so that gold's, that's a little checkbox at the top you can click. That's all you have to do. Now, is it the greatest way to do it? No, but there were so many results that we had to narrow it down somehow. Otherwise, we would never would have waded through the data. Okay, so it was just what we did. So the competitive advantages. Again, there's already a bunch of people selling kinesiology tape. How are we going to be different? Because I'm not going to do something if we can't be different, if we can't have some competitive advantages. Now, this is 100% all me. So I want to take all the credit for this because it truly was, and I'm so excited about it, and I'm so bummed that I don't get to sell this product anymore. But this was amazing, because and Kenny's going to crush it when he starts selling his tape, because he can do the same thing. But the reality is, the guys could not figure out what we could do to differentiate, besides color. They couldn't figure it out. I sat there thinking about it, and I actually came up with some really simple and awesome things that worked out very well. So I definitely want to pat myself on the back, and that's why I did that. So let me show you. It can't be a Me Too product. It has to stand out from the rest. And we created 4 competitive advantages that didn't cost us hardly anything. Okay? Number 1, I doubled the length of the tape roll. We went from everybody has a 14-foot, 4-inch roll of tape. Everybody. So I said, let's double it. Let's make it 24, 10 extra feet. Okay, why? Because that's a lot more. And one of the things we found in the reviews was people wished the rolls were longer. And then the only way to get longer rolls was to buy the bulk rolls. And the prices were different. Well, initially I was like, oh, if you double, it's going to double the cost. Really? It cost me 30 cents more a roll. 30 cents more a roll to double the length. Pretty good competitive advantage right there, right? We can sell it for now we have a reason to mark our price up even more. We can charge more, legitimately, even only a couple dollars more, but it's still a better deal than buying the other brand. That's just one advantage. We offered multiple width options, 2-inch and 4-inch. Almost all the kinesiology tape companies were only offering 2-inch rolls. And the thing is when you tape a shoulder or a knee, it's easier to use a wider roll of tape, because then you can just cut slits in the tape. You don't have to use as many pieces, and it's just a better wrap. How did I find that out? I read the reviews. I watched kinesiology tape videos and see what athletes were doing and how they were talking and what the trainers were saying were the different things. So we added a 4-inch roll. Now, did other people have a 4-inch roll? Yeah. Rock Tape had 4-inch rolls, and they were ridiculous, like 60 or 70 bucks. Okay, our 4-inch roll with the double length wound up costing us like only $1 or something more. So we didn't have to go ridiculous to have our profit margin stay really good. So we had those 2 options. All our tape is waterproof, instead of just optional where you had to pay more for it. Rock Tape, KT Tape, they charged you more to get the waterproof tape. Okay, and what we found out was that the non-waterproof tape also didn't work with sweat. So basically the tape doesn't work, right, half the time. So as long as you don't sweat, the tape was awesome while you're doing a physical activity. So we said, let's just make it waterproof. And there was also, we were able to add, they had a different tape that was not only waterproof, or an adhesive that was also resistant to the chemicals in sweat, so that it wouldn't break down as quickly. So we just made that the standard. Didn't cost us any more. It was an option. What type of adhesive do you want? Do you have a waterproof one or one that resists sweat? We have both. Can we use that? Sure. Wouldn't have known if we didn't ask. Premium branding. Okay? All these other pieces make us look good. We might as well package it together and be that top level brand. So now, basically we're talking about almost a 30 cents a unit cost increase, right? We stand out visually through our premium branding and our colors and selections and things like that. Technically, we stand out. And functionally, we stand out. Competitive advantage didn't cost really anything, and now we already stand way out from our competition. So, then the branding. We wanted to have that premium branding. So what I wanted premium design. I wanted a strong gender-neutral design. A catchy name that the market would identify with. Strong logo that will appeal visually to the market. Retail quality packaging, because one of our considerations was we wanted to be able to go into retail, right? Had to have a cohesive design that makes the product pop. So we wound up with 8 tape. Crossfitters, right? Primal, right? 8 primal CrossFit, perfect fit. Okay, went through all these different 8 variations, right? And what did we do? We went on CrossFit fan pages and posted pictures of apes and had them vote on which ones they liked. Oh, that's cool. That one's like me. That one's cool. Then guess what? The girls who voted were the ones that we weighted the heaviest. So we found out that this was the most appealing ape for the ape tape. And then we added the tape to the shoulder. So now the ape and the tape are together. Ape tape, picture of an ape with tape inside of a tape roll. Okay, it all worked out. If you look at the packaging, prevents injuries, delay fatigue, and eliminate pain. 2 inches wide, right on the front, 10 extra feet. Calling it out right off the bat. Okay, again, kinesiology is spelled wrong. Yeah. Okay. We show our other colors. Our packaging is premium. You can look through the top and see what color it is, so we didn't have to have a different box for every color, which is a mistake a lot of people do, is they actually print the color or the variation on the box, so you can't have standardized packaging, so your packaging cost quadruples or goes way up based on however many variations you have. And then the other thing we added, this was a last minute ad, was I had them put graph paper on the adhesive backing. So now you can actually measure, because most of the others don't. How did I get the same length piece? Do I need a certain size, certain width? The biggest issue wasn't so much the length as it was cutting the width, because for certain type of taping jobs, the complaint was they couldn't get it consistent, because you need, for certain types of things, you want a thin piece versus a wider piece and whatever. That didn't cost anything extra either. But it was a nice little touch that people, and the reviews, the feedback we got was, man, it's so easy to use this stuff. And it sticks, right? So we have our 4-inch roll, and these 3 were our first 3 variations in colors. Black, blue, and orange. Think I just chose those randomly? Nope. Did research. I found out what the best-selling colors of Rock, KT, and the other competitors were, and said, out of all of these are the best 3 we should start with. And to eliminate our issues on variations, we went with a 1-color variation for the 4-inch tape. So, and then Adil took all these photos, actually. After he forgave me for saying no to his oil, he still does our photos. So, because we were planning on growing this brand into a large company and taking it into retail and doing all kinds of crazy stuff, we applied for trademarks and did the whole trademark process. A lot of people will never go this route. You don't have to go this route, but a lot of us do. So we wanted to have a trademark, so we applied for one. Okay, trademarks must be classified by a specific use, and they're organized into categories based on that use. Okay, so what in our case, ape tape falls into the sports tape for injuries category, and the trademark will only apply to protection for that category. Okay, and directly relate to competitive products that are in that same category. So medical tape category was where we wound up getting stuck. All right. But it's not all sunshine and roses. I alluded to it already. Shit happens, and the US is sue crazy, right? So what happened? Just because you get a trademark does not mean that you are protected. Even if the US Patent and Trademark Office issues you a trademark and you do everything by the book, you can still have issues. We were awarded a trademark for ape tape in the medical tape category. The trademark was uncontested and approved, went live, went through all the process, we have the paperwork, everything's good. No conflict of interest by anybody. Several months later, I was served with legal papers from an IP attorney threatening legal action, claiming that we had violated another company's trademark. They were also issued a trademark for ape tape in the paper, carton, and electrical tape categories. National Can Do Tape is the name of the company. They can go to hell, okay? And so anyway, National Can Do Tape decided that you can't have ape tape in a sports medical category because we have ape tape in a paper, carton, and electrical tape category. Both companies were issued trademarks by the US Patent Office, Trademark Office, because the USPTO felt there was no conflicting issues. These were things that were addressed. Is there a conflicting issue? No. So there is no issue, okay? But that doesn't prove a guarantee that you're protected or that somebody can't sue you. You can sue for whatever you want, right? So we had no legal protection on this. So the other company decided that they would file suit if we did not stop selling or using the product trademark, okay? So our IP attorney, we went through the whole process. We've spent tons of money on this stuff. They explained to us, and their IP attorney actually explained to us the same thing, that, hey, you're both right. So the only people who are going to win in this situation are the lawyers. Because we're going to battle, and they're going to say, well, you're using our trademark. Well, you're using ours. No, you're not. No, you're not. Basically, we both are in the right. So all we're going to do is keep arguing until one of us says, I don't want to argue anymore. And then the money runs out, right? So what we decided was, at this point, we hadn't gotten super far into the selling of it. We'd only sold a few thousand rolls. And at that time, I was already going through some issues with my previous business partner, and I didn't want to form a new company that was potentially going to be a big and longer lasting company with a business partner I didn't want to be in business with. Ryan and Daniel felt the same way about that same person. And so we decided that, hey, let's kill multiple birds with one stone. Let's just let it go. Let's cut our losses and double down on our other businesses that were already making money and let this slide, okay? So, it sucked. Still the most amazing, the product I get the most excited about was still this. Now what we could have done was we could have gone back to the drawing board, found another brand, started it all back up again. But what happened was, at that season of our life, it just didn't make sense. And then life got in the way, other things happened, we just started focusing on other companies, and it just sat there. So kinesiology tape is still a great brand, it's still a great market. The reason I'm telling you this story is, number one, most people won't tell you stuff like this. They'll just say, oh man, look at how awesome we are and how great they are. Well, guess what? The real world hits me too, okay? But the process that we went through to get to this point is how we find our winning products. And it is still the same way it works for anybody else. Now, is anybody else gonna have this? We have never seen this issue in almost anybody else's business. We've seen a couple trademark things, but it was more that they knew there was gonna be a potential conflict, but they went forward anyway in case they didn't enforce it. Because the thing about a trademark is, if you don't enforce it every time, you can't enforce it any time. You can't pick and choose when you want to enforce a trademark. So that could have been why, we had this issue. So now the silver lining here is, their trademark attorney was not very intelligent, and when we agreed to stop using the trademark, they never took ownership of the trademark, so they can't even use it themselves, but we can't use it. They also never requested the domain name, so we sold it back to them for $5,000 3 months later. And they didn't even realize they bought it from us. But they could have demanded it from us as part of the settlement. They didn't know what they're doing. So, we don't own it anymore. We don't do anything with it, but we still have the product. So I can't sell it to you, but I can give it to you. So anyway, that's kind of the way these things work. And again, don't let this put a damper on your own endeavors, okay? Because, this type of thing would have shot a lot of people in the foot. They would have been done. They would have been depressed. They would have been, over it. They would have just quit, okay? Shit happens. Whether it's to this level, or a product that you start selling doesn't work out, or you have unhappy customers, or whatever it is, things are going to pop up in your business. So do not focus on the fact that this didn't work for us, because everything did work. And it sold great. The only thing that didn't work is our stupid legal system, and it wasn't worth fighting. I could have dumped 200, 300 grand into a legal battle, but I'd rather just have that money in my pocket and not have the stress of a legal battle. Because if anybody's ever gone through that kind of stuff, that's not fun. Lawyers and court and all that kind of stuff, that can drag out for years. Who needs that stress in their life? You can always go make more money. There's plenty of products out there, right? All right, any questions on this stuff?
Before you learn the IP battle, I was going to ask what your IP research process is on both the patent side and trademark.
So, good question, and I don't know. I hired a company. Our IP attorney that we use, they have a whole team that does that. And the easy thing is to go do a patent search or an IP search on the USPTO website. Those suck. If you ever tried that, it's a pain in the ass. Yeah. It's much easier to hire. Now, patent searches are a different story. Trademark searches are much cheaper. But we paid them to do that. And we knew about the can-do tape. We knew it already. It wasn't like there was no crossover. And when there's a conflict, when you submit a trademark, if the USPTO sees a conflict, before they go through the approval process, they'll flag it and say, hey, have you considered this? You can still push for it, but have you looked at this? None of that came back. So I would recommend you let a company who is actually good at doing that and wants to spend that time to do that, because it's a long, drawn-out process to try to wade through that crappy website. And there's software tools that they all use that are better.